Mothers look forward to this day, the day that they will meet their babies for the past 9 months. Now, mothers like Maria got her name. For months, she carried her baby, hoping to meet him at her kabuanan, but kabuanan did not come. She underwent preterm labor and delivery before 9 months, that's around 8 months, her baby in ICU, born prematurely. Now, as a medical doctor, I encountered similar situations like Maria. And it's because the experience of Maria is the experience of one of every 10 mothers giving birth before 37 weeks, also known as preterm birth. In particular, the Philippines has high burden of this condition, ranking 8th in terms of absolute number of cases. Now, why is this of public health concern? It's because mothers who deliver preterm are 1.5 times to 2.3 times more likely to die from complications such as infection and preterm birth also affects the womb. Now, prematurity in the Philippines is the leading cause of neonatal mortality, accounting for 1 in 3 deaths. Since preterm newborns are at risk for various complications, they require ICU admission, which costs around 7,000 to 15,000 pesos a day. That's larger than the average income of ordinary Filipino families. Now, despite these numbers proving the burden of this condition in the Philippines, not only to the healthcare system, but also to Filipino families, there is zero known cure for preterm birth. So given the Sustainable Development Goal of good health and well-being by reducing maternal mortality and ending all preventable deaths under the age of 5, as well as the Sustainable Development Goal of gender equality and empowering all women and girls by ensuring universal access to reproductive health and rights, research about this topic is very important. But before we proceed to that, we have to understand what is the process of labor. Now, labor is an inflammatory process characterized by immune activation, migration, and a shift to a pro-inflammatory environment. Now, these signals can come from the fetus or the baby, of which when present before 9 months can lead to premature activation of labor. Now, interestingly, every day, the mother is constantly exposed to stressors, such as infection and lifestyle factors that can increase oxidative stress, like pollution and smoking. Yet, not every stressor, not all the time, will lead to premature activation of labor. So, in this paper that we published in Communications Biology, I asked a question. What does it take for a pregnant woman to undergo labor? Now, before to answer this, we have to understand the interaction between the mother and the baby. The mother and the baby interacts via the two interfaces, via the placenta, or we call the inuna ng bata, and the fetal membranes, or what we call the supot-suputan ng bata. The fetal membranes, in particular, are composed of the fetally derived amnion, chorion, and immune cell-rich maternal reservoir. This is interesting because despite progesterone being important in the maintenance of pregnancy, these fetal membranes do not express classical progesterone receptors. Instead, what they have are atypical receptors that we call progesterone receptor membrane complexes, or PGRMC. Of interest for me is PGRMC2, because Cassidy observed histopathologically that PGRMC2 is decreased in fetal membranes of babies born prematurely. But this is just correlation. We have to establish if there is causation, if PGRMC2 is important in the activation of labor. So before I do that, I have encountered two challenges. First, what model should I use? And second, how to study the function of PGRMC2. Now, the first question is very important because we cannot experiment on pregnant women due to ethical reasons. So, of course, there are different pregnancy models that we have. So, usually we do in vitro modeling. However, the problem with this is that we do not fully capture the complexities that are present in pregnancy. We can use live animals to model our pregnancy. However, we also encounter challenges with regards to using these animal models. Now, to be able to balance between reproducibility and complexity, I have developed what we call a pregnancy model using microphysiological system, or what we call organ-on-chip. So organ-on-chip technology uses advances in biology and engineering to be able to model tissues and organs, simplifying and reducing them into miniature devices or chips. Now, it is important because this allows us to model diseases, to test candidate drugs, and to evaluate possible toxic substances. So in particular, I modeled the chorion from the baby and the decidual from the mother to be able to form the choriodecidual interface on chip, or CDI on chip. Now this chip has two chambers. In the inside, I put the chorioblast from the baby, and in the outside chamber, I put the decidual cells from the mother. Now this chip, the two chambers, are connected by an array of microchannels that allow for communication between the two chambers. Now they are so small, they can fit, four of them can fit in a microscope slide. Now, this organ-on-chip platform allows me to measure gene expression and levels of soluble molecules, visualize cells, and count the number of cells, or immune cells rather, that migrate from the mother to the baby, which is characteristic of fetal membrane inflammation. So this is just to show you what my chip looks like under the microscope. And this is to show you, this is the chorion cells and vesicle cells, and these moving objects are my immune cells, and it's these immune cells are migrating. So that those things I counted. Now, to test one of the maternal stressors that increases risk for preterm birth, which is infection, I treated the maternal side with bacterial cerebral component glycopolysaccharide, or LPS. Now, the maternal side here is shows activation of inflammation in response to LPS. However, at the fetal side, you can see there's minimal response that is observed. This is further confirmed when we look at inflammation markers, which showed an increase in inflammatory molecules at the mother side. Meanwhile, there is no change in production at the fetal side. Since there is no inflammation that is happening at the fetal side, we can expect that there is no immune cell migration from the mother to the baby. Now, why is this relevant? It's because I was able to show that the maternal side here contains that infection without causing inflammation at the fetal side, which is reflective of what is happening physiologically, wherein not all the time the stressor would cause premature acquisition of newborn. Now that I have a pregnancy model to use to answer my question, I now answer the second question, which is how do I study the function of PGRMC2? So, of growing popularity recently, you've heard from the news, is the gene editing technology that we call CRISPR-Cas9. Now, similar to a pair of scissors, this system cuts the gene, making it impossible to produce the protein that is required for their function. Now, this way, we are able to study the function of a gene via its supposed loss of function. So, in this study, I deleted PGRMC2 from the fetal membranes, as you can observe here. Now, what happens now when I remove PGRMC2? Now, when looking at pathways, what pathways change when I deleted PGRMC2, I observe and reach pathways that seemingly suggest that there is disruption of connections between cells. Disrupted cellular connections suggest that the barrier function is being compromised. That integrity is being compromised. So I stain the cell to see if we are changing that phenotype. So if they appear green, it means that they use that phenotype. And when I deleted TGRMC2, cells are now starting to stain green. This means that the barrier function or the barrier phenotype of the chorion cells are starting to disintegrate. I'll also observe, there are inflammatory pathways that are being activated. So I look into one inflammation marker and I observe that there is a decent increase in inflammation marker at the fetal site now. Now, I look back at the genes, what would possibly suggest this? And I observed that there is a decrease in HLA-G when I deleted TGRNC2. And HLA-G is important because it is considered a self molecule found in fetal cells, and when recognized by the body, there is an immunomodulatory activity resulting in immune cell inhibition and controlled release of inflammatory substances. Now, given all those interactions, we have now disruption of barrier integrity and inflammation at the fetal site. Now, if I have infection, does it now result to immune cell infiltration? So I place the organ cells with deleted TGRNC2 on the fetal site. Again, I treated with lipopolysaccharide. And as you can see, there is an increase in inflammation markers at the fetal site when I treated it with LPS. Now, when I counted the number of immune cells migrating from the mother to the baby, it shows an increase. Now, overall, this suggests that the absence of TGRMC2 results in loss of the barrier phenotype, inflammatory response via decreasing the amount of HLA-G, and immune cell infiltration in response to stressor. Taken all together, this shows that this is now fetal membrane inflammation characteristic of activation of the liver. In summary, I was able to develop a model of pregnancy that needed fetal membrane inflammation. I was able to show that TGRNC2 is an important molecule that regulates the organ integrity, the fetal membrane integrity, by maintaining that barrier phenotype and regulate inflammatory response by controlling HLA-G production, which, taken together, prevent immune cell infiltration from the mother into the baby. Now, what are the implications of this? For mothers like Maria, it's understanding why one is at risk for preterm birth, allowing us to counsel the patients, allowing us to close monitor these patients. For doctors, it's identifying patients because we can explore measurement of TGRNC2 in the fetal membranes to see who were the patients that would respond better to progesterone supplementation. For scientists, it's a validated alternative model to animals and pregnant women. And according to FDA Modernization Act of recent publication, they are now promoting non-animal model use for drug testing. But what is the implication for that for the Philippines? It's having a society that has high burden of preterm birth to a society proactively ensuring that all babies are carried to term. So, I'd like to thank my mentors, I'd like to thank my collaborators, but especially, I would like to thank our greatest teachers, our patients. So with that, I end my presentation. Thank you.